Hello everyone, I am Rasinam, your instructor. Hope you are fine by the blessing of God. I am damn sure you will be taking interest during lecture. So let's start our topic. So students, this is our first chapter. Chapter name, What is Economics? Book name, Microeconomics. Author name, Michael Parkin, 10th edition. First of all, in this chapter we will discuss the basic concept of economics, and we divided this chapter in two parts. First part we will discuss first is it is theoretically, second part based on graphical. So everyone in my class, hopefully you will know the definition of economics. Hopefully you will know the definition of economics according to the different author. You know the types of the economics, microeconomics and macroeconomics. Hopefully you already know the definition of both branches. But my question is, why we study economics? Many of the times when we sit in any gathering, many of the people say, what you study? I'm also an economic student. I say I am research scholar at Applied Economic Research Center. So many of the people say, what is economics? And this question is very irritating, because you can't justify, you can't deliver your knowledge in the easiest way. So my question is, why we study economics? I give you 30-second times to write anything what you want. Why do you study? Why economics is important in your life? Then I will tell you why we study economics. It's a human nature. We want more than we can get. Our inability to get everything we want is called scarcity. Scarcity is universal. It confronts all living things. Think about the things in your life what you want. Write the things what you want in your life and the scarcity that you face it. For example, in my life, I want a healthy life, long and healthy life, good school. I want to go to a good school, good college, good university. I want to live a comfortable home. I want fast internet connection, laptop, iPad, new bike, new car, everything I want. But the question is very simple. What you can afford? Do you afford all these things? Simply the answer is no, because my buying power is limited, which depend on my income, and my income is also depend on working hours or hours in a day. Everyone have a 24 limited hours in a day. No one exceeded. So students, we all know we have a limited time, we have a limited resources, we can't get everything we want, we must make choices. Why we study economics? We can't get everything we want, we must make choices. Understand? We must make choices. We can't afford both things, a laptop or an iPhone. So you must choose which one is to buy. If you choose to buy a laptop, someone else must choose to sell it. Understand? If you choose to buy a laptop, someone else must choose to sell it. Incentive reconcile choices. It's a very important point. Incentive reconcile choices. But what is incentive? An incentive is a reward that encourages an action. An incentive is a reward that encourages an action. Prices act as an incentive. Price act as an incentive. If the prices of a laptop is too high, more will be offered to sell than laptop want to buy, and the prices is low, fewer a few people will be offered to sell, then people want to buy, but there is a prices at which choices to buy and sell are consistent. Hopefully you will understand why we study economics, because we can't get everything we want. We must make choices, and when your choices is perfectly right, when you understand the consequences of your choices, hopefully you know the definition of economics, you know the types of economics. Understand you, but it's very difficult to understand the concept of scarcity, means limited resources. Sorry, it's not direct meaning of the limited resources. Scarcity means shortage of things, shortage of resources. So in this topic today we will discuss in our theoretical part two big economic questions. Hopefully you will understand why we study economics, why economics is important in your life. Next topic is, what are the two big economic questions? It is very important for any economic background student and even in a human life. The first question is, how do choices end up? Determining what, how, and for whom goods and services are produced. What, how, and for whom goods and services are produced. The second question is, can the choices that people make in pursuit of their own self-interest also promote the broader social interest? Means the self-interest, what choices people select, what things, what goods, what choices people select in your life. In broader sense, this self-interest selection is promote the social interest or not. First of all, we will understand the definition of goods and services, or maybe the concept of goods and services. Goods and services are the object that people value and produce to satisfy human wants. Good and services, I repeat it. Goods and services are the project that people value and produce to satisfy human wants. Goods are physical objects such as cell phone, mobile phone, laptops, car. Services are tasks performed for people. Means services are not tangible, such as cell phone service, auto repair service, car mechanics, etc. So let's start the first question. First part, our first question is what, how, and for whom goods and services are produced. First is what we produce varies across countries, changes over time. What determine the spectrum of production? How do choices of determining the quantities of cell phone, automobile, cell phone services, etc. So the first part is what we produce. The choices of pattern of productions are changed time to time. The second part is very important, how we produce. This part is depend on four factors. Goods and services are produced by using productive resources that economics call factor of production. Factor of production are grouped into a four parts. Means how we produce it, we can produce by using four factors. These factors are called factor of production. First is land, second labor, third capital, fourth entrepreneurship. It's maybe you can say everything, entrepreneurship or organization, both you will say. First is land. What is land? Land is the gift of nature that we use to produce goods and services, are called land. Oil, gas, coal, water, forest, fish, Everything is the part of the land. Second is labor. The work time and work effort that people devote to producing goods and services is called labor. Again, I can repeat it. Labor, what is labor? The work time and work effort that people devoted to producing goods and services is called labor. Both labor will be included in this factor, which work physically and mentally. But the quality of labor means the skills of labor, the quality of labor depend on human capital, which is the knowledge, skills people obtain from education, on the job training and work experience, etc. It's a part of human capital, it's not a part of labor. Understand? Labor, which things is covered in labor? Both labor, physical and mental work. Means those labors which are work physically in their production, and that also are part of labor which work mentally in your business, in your firm. But the quality of labor is depend on human capital. So we will discuss two factor of production, land and labor. Third part of this factor of production is capital. In this point, many of the students, when teacher or anyone is asked what is capital, many of one said it's an investment, is a money, is also called a capital, but it's wrong. Understand? In everyday language, what we say, we talk about money, stock and bonds are called capital. Every student take this mistake during class, during lecture, during paper. These items are financial capital. To be clear in your minds, these are called financial capitals, not productive or physical capital. They can't produce your goods, they can't produce your services, they can't. Financial capital play an important role in enabling business to borrow the funds that they use to buy physical capital. But because financial capital is not used to produce goods and services, it is not a productive resources. First of all, understand the difference between financial capital and productive capital. Financial capital are money, bond, stocks, everything you want in a money term. Okay? But productive physical capitals are your machinery, your plants, your technology, and etc. Hopefully you will clear the concept of this point, means what is capital, what we consider as a capital in a factor of production. Last and the fourth factor of production is entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? The human resources that organize labor, land and capital is called entrepreneurship or organization. I again repeat, entrepreneurship. What is entrepreneurship? The human resources that organize labor, land and capital is called entrepreneurship or organization. So we will cover our second part of the first question. First part is what we produce. Okay, the production pattern is changed over the time, it's depend on the country or state situation. Second, how we produce. The second part, how we produce, is depend on four factor, which is called factor of production, which we discussed in our previous section, which is depend on land, labor, capital and entrepreneurship. The next question, for whom? Who consume the goods and services that we produce? And the production depend on the income that people earn. Higher income people or people with large income can buy a wide range of goods and services. People with small income have few options and can afford a smaller range of goods and services. People earn their income by selling the services. The factor of production they own means what they gain, the factor of production they will consume it according to according to their incomes. Which thing we can earn from land? Land earn rent, labor earn wages, capital earns interest, and entrepreneurship can profit. I can repeat it all the 4 points. ठीक है, our factor of productions depend, or we can do our factor of productions: land, labor, entrepreneurship, and organization. But it's a question for all of you. It's like a assignment. You tell me which factor of production earn the most income. Which factor of production earn the most income? I am waiting for your answers. So we will cover our first question. What is our first question? I can repeat. How do choices end up determining? Means what we produce, how we produce, and for whom goods and services are produced. I can tell you everything step by step. What we produce, production pattern depend on the country situation. How we produce, by using the factor of productions, and for whom we produce, we know the people who earn more have a wide range of variety to select foods or goods or services. People who have low income have an lower option to select, lower option of selection both. Then how people have earned? People have earned by using the factor of productions. How people earn? People earn by using the factor of production, means which person which have a land who earn the rent on their land. A person who is labor who earn through wages. A person who invested, who have an capital, who invested capital in the business, is earned through the interest. That person who run the organization, entrepreneurship, or entrepreneur, earn through profit. Means the society which have all the people can earn through these factor of production and reinvest it or spend it and consume it again in this cycle. It's a cycle. Hopefully you will understand the first question: what, how, and for whom. Second question is very difficult. It's depend on the everyone lifestyle, or everyone have their own opinion related to this question. So the question is the self-interest. What is self-interest? Okay, and social interest. First we cover self-interest and social interest. Then we will tell the self-interest promote the social interest or not. So first of all, we discuss the definition of self-interest. What is self-interest? A choice is in your self-interest if you think that choice is the best one available for you. I again repeat it. If you think that choice is the best one available for you, it's a self-interest, and you don't think too much about how your choice affect other people. I again repeat it. And you don't think too much about how your choice affect other people. Your order, for example, it's a example time. For example, you order a home delivery pizza because you are hungry and you want to eat. You don't order it thinking that a delivery person need an income or not. You don't have an idea. Do you not think about it? Understand? It is self-interest. You are hungry, you want to eat it, you order it. In your mind, you don't think is the pizza delivery boy or the shopkeeper is a needy or not, and you can help through order or not. Second is social interest. A choice is in the second definition is what is social interest. If it lead to an outcome that is best for society as whole. Means your decision is affect the society and depend on how your decision impact to your society. Means your decision is most powerful because you think about the society. It's an example time. For example, if you have a capacity to produce hundreds units of cell phones in a factory or company in a one day, but you can't produce 100, not just because sorry, it not means you can't produce it. You have an ability to produce 100 cell phones in a day, but you can't. Why? Because if you produce the 100 out of 100 cell phones in your company, maybe it's dangerous for your workers' health. During production, the chemical which you use is harm for your laborers. It harm your labor health. That's why you will not produce 100 cell phones in a day, because you think the social interest, you think your labor, you not just focus on your profit or your production, you also focus your labor health, because you know during production the smoke is come out from your factory is harm any society, is harm the people, is harmful for people, is harmful to your own labor. You stop the production with the efficient level. Means that point you think, yeah, your company, your organization, your decision maker understand this point is efficient for production. Means that this decision is not create any problem for your society in every point of view, means your health, the income, etc. So this is called the social interest. The question is, self-interest promote the social interest or not? So the question about the social interest are hardest one to answer, because they generate decision, they generate debate and also disagreement. Means if I am said the self-interest also promote the social interest, maybe many of our students said, no sir, I have another opinion, I think it's not promoted, it's depend on the society which are it's depend on the company owners, it depend on the society, not compulsory every time self-interest promote social interest. So it's a hardest one to answer. Every opinion have generate debate, discussion and disagreements. So you not tell any accurate answer for this question, but according to my point, self-interest also promote the social interest. So we can complete our first part of first chapter, which is theoretically. Second part of our chapter of this chapter is graphically. So we will discuss our second part of this chapter in our second episode or in our second video. Thank you. Goodbye.